Welcome to the Voice podcast, the voice of integrity, compassion, and empathy. So, I'd like to talk today about sisterhood, feminine energy, victim energy, guilt, and how they all intertwine with one another, and how our shadows of this energy, this feminine energy, are presenting themselves or showing themselves, because the feminine energy is actually rising now, stronger and stronger. And I'm not saying this is just female, this is for male and female, as we all equally have feminine and masculine energy in us. It's our balance, it's the duality, this oneness that they come together, and one cannot exist without the other. So it's not about being male or female. However, you'll certainly feel it being female. There may be more resonance to these energies that I may talk about, but still, as I talk about the earth energy, the Mother Earth coming up, the feminine energy, through imprinting, so this is ancestral trauma that comes through the mother lineage mostly. It can be the male as well. However, it's mostly to do with once you're in the womb, you are, especially if you're female and your ovaries are growing, they are connecting through to your grandmother and therefore keep going, because within your mother's, when your mother was growing in her mother's womb, your grandmother, her ovaries were there as well. So there's a real definitive link until back to where humanity started, for whenever that is. So we have this real deep connection through our ancestors, what we call the earth lineage. And this can be male and female, especially as our mitochondria, the life force, our energy in every single cell, is carried through the mother lineage. So we have a huge connection to this feminine energy. And this feminine energy is coming up. It's rising. The close of 2012 was the more masculine energy, and now it's coming into the rising of the Aquarius, the feminine. So what does this actually mean, apart from sounding a little bit on the woo-woo side? It means that, and I can only express from what is happening to me and how I've seen it coming through in clients as well. And just that general inner knowing, that feeling. And I know through me individually, I'm part of the collective. We're all part of the same. So we are all experiencing very similar energies, especially due to our molecular aspects, our physical, our energetic connections through our ancestors. It's bringing up our shadows. Again, so what does that mean? So our shadows are our darker sense of self. They may be our subconscious, which really sits deep within our basal ganglion, which is in the deep midbrain, which connects to our amygdala, which is our fear-based response system. So shadow work is what I call self-reflection, going deep, looking into yourself in terms of what is it that is blocking you from your light, from your power, of who you really are. And if you're feeling lost, slightly disbanded, disembodied, all over the blooming place, know that actually this is a wonderful time of rebirthing. And think of rebirthing, it isn't a pleasant experience for male or female, but what I mean in terms of mother or baby is really not the most comfortable of experiences. Yes, there's beautiful joy at the end of that experience, but it's not comfortable. It's a squeeze. It's painful. So actually, when we're wanting to be something greater than what we're experiencing, that life isn't serving purpose for you right now, it's feeling very lacking in joy, it feels harder to experience, there's parts of you that feel fragmented and you feel like you're losing your shite, and in a way you are losing your shite, but not in the way that you think that you're losing yourself, that you're losing control, that you're completely just don't know what the hell you are. And actually, yes, it's disembodying, but actually this process is about really finding who you are. So the shite that you're shifting is actually your shadow work. It's your parts of you, your fear, your old belief systems, the BS that we're carrying that we are unaware of. It's really unconsciously. I mean, sometimes we may consciously have these certain thoughts, but there can be some real deep things sitting deep in our subconscious that is playing out. It's the subconscious that runs the show if we have no consciousness of that connection. And this is when we keep repeating cycles and patterns, and we might see that in our relationships as they keep kind of going from one bad relationship to the next, or certain people keep treating you a certain way, or you keep getting triggered in a certain feeling. It's really about showing you that there's something you need to shift. There's a pattern we need to move from, and we are energetic beings. We are not the dense forms that we think we are, that's separate from everything else. We are all energetically connected in a denser aspect of energy. So when you is disband that and open that and see that we're actually energy flowing, we become mirrors. We are resonating at a frequency that when we're in a low frequency, we receive low frequencies behaviors. A lot of every our relationship and things that come back to us are like mirrors coming back to us to look at within, to understand what we are carrying. And it may not feel like a very pleasurable experience. However, if you take that moment to go, this is trying to show me something, there is a blessing in this moment right now, and the fear and everything else that will kind of just hold you and suck you in, that this is my story, this is, I'm a victim, etc., etc. You know, you continue that pattern where if you actually go, this actually isn't my truth, it may feel like my truth and it may be feeling really real, but this isn't actually what I'm worthy of. I'm worthy of joy. I'm worthy of peace. I'm worthy of love. The deep atom, the molecular structure of you is of that. It is pure. It is joy. It is love. It is peace. It's just it's the social conditioning bullshit that just basically just suppresses it. So it's about knowing that actually this is your truth. Love, joy, and peace is your truth. All this other stuff is just plaque that has just kind of gate crashed and smothered and blocked and decayed. And we could see that as disease. We can see that as illness. And actually, it's breaking free from that and knowing that your real truth is of love, joy, and peace. And when you can really kind of acknowledge that, even though it might not always feel like that, you create a little seed in your mind to be able to create a pause button to go, no, I choose love, joy, peace. I don't want this. I don't want to feel rubbish, hateful, guilty, shameful, anger, whatever it is that's coming up for you. you can now have this choice of how you wish to feel, how you wish to be, and how you wish to see, and everything else in your life, how you want to resonate, how you want to frequent in this life. It's all about your frequency. And that is your power. That is your choice. And it's when we feel we don't have choices is when we feel disempowered. And that's when we bring in this victim energy. Because we're sitting in fear. So it's seeing a situation that's happening for you, or aspects that are coming up for you, even triggered emotions. And it could be very small, it could be very judgmental, little things that come up. And how I can express this is I have been seeing, so going back to this whole rising up of the feminine energy, rising up of sisterhood. So I'm seeing a lot of women really growing and start finding their power and who they are. And it's beautiful to see. And the deep part of me is encouraging it. And yes, this is wonderful. And you can see, when you see this from a loving aspect, this is wonderful. This proves that this can happen, and it resonates back as strength and a power that yes, we can do this. But there was also shadows that came up for me, and it was an envy came up. Not sure it was quite jealousy, but it might have been that. And I've talked about before that actually envy is more an energy of, I like what they've got, I would like that for myself, which is brilliant, because what that does is resonates something in you that goes, I would like this for me, and they can do it. I've seen it, so it's possible. And you can really take that and empower yourself to go, yeah, I'm going to go for this. That's what I desire, and that was what I wish for. And celebrating the other person because they're doing it's just even higher vibrational energy to go and to transform and transmute things into that space. Yet jealousy is, I want that, but I don't want them to have it either. Because somewhere in that is fear to saying somewhere that if someone's got it, you can't have it. So abundance isn't even coming into your mindset there. Somewhere along in your belief systems, you have been told, or you're carrying this belief that actually if somebody else has it, you can't have it. It's taken, it's gone. BS. If somebody is experiencing it, then you can have it too. And therefore you then go, well, how do I get to that point? What do I need to do within me to raise my vibration, to be where they are, to experience it, but also to recognize it, to find it in your own way as well. You know, you're never going to be like somebody else. You are unique. No one has had your experiences. No one's had your life. No one is you. Your voice, your fingerprints, you are unique. And the more you love and accept and honor your uniqueness, the greater and most wonderful and wholeness empowerment you will be. So don't try and be somebody else, because they're already taken. Be you. Be unapologetically you. In love and kindness and compassion and empathy. So this rising of this feminine energy is really bringing up our shadow work, but it's also bringing up the shadows of Earth and humanity. It's bringing up, if you look back thousands of years, what humanity has done to each other through fear, suppression, control, separation. If you look at what has happened to women, and this is what has been coming up for me lately, is the witch trials is just one portion of our history where women were burned, drowned, called witchery, because they were in their power. They were in their light. They were in their connections and their gifts, and whether we want to call this spirituality, but they had it. And they were using that to the highest good for other people. Women had the power to give birth. Women have the power to give birth. We had Miss Wittery. They have this huge potential of creativity and gifts. There's a power there. And when before this happened, before this separation control, and I had this great image of sisterhood, how powerful it was. There was no fear. There's absolute love and connection. Things weren't done against one another, because when that is done, it's fear. When it's negative. And this is what I saw was a very strong image, very powerful. And it got broken down because of fear and separation, which then brought other women against other women because they had to protect themselves. Because if they didn't dob somebody else in or do something else to another woman, they would have probably been killed themselves. Their children would have been killed. It was huge manipulation, separation, and fear imprinted on women. And this is probably why we have this peculiar situation sometimes where women are funny against other women. There's no reason to be, really. Yet there's this deep pattern of doing one down or gossiping or obituary, and you've got to kind of think, well, where has that really come from? And I generally believe it's coming from how women have been treated throughout humanity. And it's only now that women are slowly getting that voice to stand up. And it's not about being any better or any less than men or feminine, masculine. It's about being equal. So when we talk about the rising of the feminine, it's not about taking over male or masculine. It's about finding that equality and that balance. And that's balance in our life as well. And as is what our health needs. It needs balance. It needs this homeostasis. It needs to have, sometimes in the sympathetic nervous system, which I see as the masculine, the doing, the getting on with things, and the general being able to survive, to be able to live. Then you have the parasympathetic, which I see as the feminine, which is the resting, the digesting, the feeding, the breeding. It's that you need both aspects to exist. The masculine in its pure sense is the destroyer, the creator, and the protector. And this is about our healthy boundaries. The masculine energy that has been seen in humanity isn't pure masculine energy. It's fear. It's dominance, it's control, it's separation. It's all fear. That is not actually the healthy masculine. Like I say, the masculine there is this healthy protection. It's the diversity in the seed that it shares to allow growth for the feminine to be able to give birth to. And this isn't just children and us reproducing, it's also how we exist, how we create things, how we present ourselves every day. So again, I reiterate, it's not about the women suddenly being more powerful and better than the other. This isn't about that. This is about bringing up our shadows to allow this balance and this feminine energy to support humanity and communities and society, not for individual greed. It's actually to support everybody as a community for the highest good for everybody. Because actually real happiness cannot be, is fake if it's just something you're achieving on your own. Happiness, fulfillment, contentment is when we help others in a way that we serve others that serve our joy and contentment. That is what actual happiness is. And we do that by understanding who we are, our uniqueness, and our colors, our shapes, our diversity. This is what we are. This is what we need as a community, is all these shapes and sizes and uniqueness empowered in self. Is these lovely little jigsaw pieces and puzzles that creates this wonderful picture. We can't have a rainbow with one color. It's a spectrum of color, and this is what we need to be. And the society has really pigeonholed and made it very small. It just have to be this one color, otherwise you don't fit. And that is bullshit again. And I see that in school systems and even just general life, that you have to be a certain way to be accepted. And that might have been okay, and people may have been able to cope with that and kind of masked a lot of who they are. You know, look at gays and lesbians, and probably not even saying that very PC, but hey, here we are. But it's, you know, people have had to hide themselves, they've had to mask themselves and not be them true selves for fear of being rejected. And we have to honor exactly all of us and rejoice in everybody else. To actually have love and acceptance is the togetherness. And I'm going off on a slight tangent here, but it's just really understand who you are and don't know you need to be hiding anymore. And we do that through self-love and self-acceptance. Go, this is me unapologetically, and this is the rising of the feminine energy. This is about you finding your power and your light and your voice. And it's the voice is so incredibly powerful, and you allow your throat chakra to open, to come from a space of love, not fear, because that gets suppressed. It can either get suppressed and goes inward and internalized as anger, or it comes out as anger. Now, the internal anger is actually a very healing system. It's very healing, because it helps you shift all this shite that is really hanging in there, like fear, guilt, hurt, pain, betrayal. It's actually an inner anger. It's actually about alchemizing and allowing underneath that is that I am worthy of so much more. I deserve better than this. And that is self-love coming up to the surface. Now that is beautiful. Allowing that anger to come up is actually transmuting and transforming you to go, I am worthy of so much more. And it comes into your heart and then it expands. When you voice anger in a different way or release anger outwards, then that is actually more fear. So it's being, and especially from a triggered state. So you may find that you just, that is a lot of just downloading and trigger and anger. I mean, we could do this bleh, as it were, it's that technical term of release, is actually for oneself to really acknowledge what is going on for me. But if we're constantly just projecting it out all the time, we're not looking what's going on internally for us. And that's just a continuation of anger cycle, which is actually more of a fear. So it's about really sort of in holding that space, which again is the feminine energy of holding space, holding stillness, to allow the thoughts, our mindfulness, to be self-aware, to understand who we are and what's going on. And also to honor your gifts and your talents and your wisdom. I had this experience the other day where I, for the first time, did this love to heal movement meditation, and which is a course that I'm creating, which will be online. However, I've decided, and I felt this real urge to do it physically, to hold a group. And I did this for the first time and I loved it, really loved it. I was just in this, I saw the power of what it did and how it helped people, how it released, and the emotion that came up because they connected to love, they connected to source. It was exceptionally powerful and wonderful to be able to be part of that. And holding this space for people for their healing felt so natural for me. And I loved it and I really enjoyed it. And this isn't something I would have done 6 months ago, maybe a year ago, certainly not any time I would even considered it. And I have had to be on a very interesting transformational journey to have got to this point. And I did it, loved it, and went, right, next day, right, what else have I got to do? And it's like, boom, straight back into my masculine energy. Right, I've got to be doing something. I've got to do something. And what should I be doing? I've got to be doing something. And it's just like, whoa, 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 whoa. And it came to me the other day that actually I didn't hold enough space for myself to fully integrate how I felt that night, that time when I held this space, and to really honor my talents and my gifts. And this isn't from an ego perspective, which that will just come in and go, oh, don't be so full of yourself, blah blah blah. That, you know, that could come in again, but it's not. This is about me just fully embracing and honoring my gifts and my talents, and having that moment to allow it to integrate into me, into my physical, my emotional, my mental, my energetic body, and let that really ground into me to go, yes, I'm truly grateful for these opportunities. So the rising of the feminine has so many aspects to it. And to know that actually our health, our relationships, our work, all these aspects of our life all relate back to us, ourselves. They're not separated. We are one. And actually, when we heal, and when we come into our journey of healing and transformation, it's actually understanding that we are one. And we bring back fragments of ourselves that have been lost in time, be that through our inner child and our childhood and traumas there. Even with the most decent of childhoods, there's often trauma there, to the absolute extreme of abuse. And there's little parts of us that get fragmented because there was too much, couldn't cope with it. The emotion was too overwhelming, and we had to just slip into just get on with it, and just we found a survival method to get through it, and it helped us then, but it doesn't serve us now. And it's recognizing these old patterns, these old thoughts and ways of being, ways of thinking that don't serve us anymore. And that our purpose in this life is to be happy, to have joy, not work hard, get stressed and die. That really isn't that. There's so much more for us, of miracles that we are to be here. And so our health is about wholeness and doing our shadow work, not fearing it, because boy, I feared it, because I thought there's a whole load of really scary stuff I don't want to see, and because this is related to childhood trauma, and it's too scary because a lot of it's been hidden in my subconscious for a while, but it's come up in the last year because it needed to be dealt with, because it was screwing me, it was killing me, and it was doing my immune system in and my kidneys, because it was so holding into the fear. So it had to come out. And I've done a lot of work with that, where I'm not scared of my subconscious. I'm working with it and allowing it to process and release what doesn't serve me anymore. And when you start releasing those fears, it enables you to really be who you want to be and create what you want to create. So I think that will probably be enough for today. So I guess the message from this really is that the things are coming up. Things will be coming up for you. But you're not breaking down. You're breaking free. And we will always seek and try and hold on to what we know, because that's our feeling of control. Yet these don't serve us anymore. And we're seeing that in our society. We're seeing it in schools. We're seeing it in the government. We're seeing it in many aspects of parts of society that do not serve the collective to the highest good. Things have to crumble to allow the new to grow. And this will be happening for you individually too. if you're not on your alignment of love and joy and peace for yourself, things will start to show for you. And to know that these old ways, if they're the shoulds, it's a shame word, it's a guilt word. Seek, what do I desire? Yes, I can carry on that way, but do I choose to carry on that way? Do I want to be that way? No, I wish this. I wish to feel good. I wish to have joy and love and fun and abundance. This is what I choose. So you're at the crossroads of deciding, where do you want to be? And if you keep continuing down the should, shame, guilt route, the victimhood, you'll keep finding blocks. I think the roadblocks are there much quicker than they probably have ever been. It's really about saying, this really isn't the path that serves you. There are other choices. See them. And that's the miracle of the shift of perception, when you start to see that you have a choice and you can change your path. And the more neuroplasticity, the more affirmations, the more confirmation, and at each step and thought and action you take is in that higher vibration of joy, love and peace, you create more. You start creating a track. You start to separate from the old ways. Okay, you will slip into those old ways. That's absolutely fine, because that's very embedded, ingrained in the body, especially if you're not allowing yourself to find space and time for you. You can get quite overwhelmed and you just fall straight back into subconscious behavior. It's about having that space to stop in yourself, that self-care every day, of that mindfulness, to keep consciously making the choices of what you wish to feel, see and be. And you start creating this beautiful neuroplasticity of regrowth and change, which then brings this beautiful higher vibration to ourselves, to release what doesn't serve anymore. We release our toxicity physically, mentally, emotionally, and we have a higher vibration, a higher health. It's all linked. So the key here is your choice. It's awareness. The awareness creates your conscious choices. And know that you are worthy of so much more. And that if you are feeling yourself just like, what the up's going on right now? I have no idea. Everything's falling apart. Just calm. Find time for you. Breathe. Meditate. Nature. Listen to some meditations that I've got on Pajama Revolution. Whatever it is that resonates, that finds your time and stillness, to just reconfigure, to find some mind and heart coherence. You know, placing your left hand on your heart and your right hand on your forehead, and just breathing into that space for a while until you feel those connections, that balancing of your heart. And then you can bring your right hand, then keeping your left hand on your heart and your right hand on your solar plexus, and connecting your heart and your solar plexus. And this will bring you into alignment. This will give you your mind heart coherence, while you're working from a space of love, not fear. And then you're listening to your enteric gut nervous system that's separate to the brain. So it's the gut brain, which really knows a lot. So it's connecting to your deep wisdom centers, your inner knowing, rather than the mental overwhelmed brain energy. You're really coming in deeper into your body, your grounding. So that's also a beautiful way of finding yourself, grounding yourself, and having that quiet mind to allow those quiet seeds to drop in, which is your soul, your higher self, gently trying to guide you to your path of happiness, because that is what you're worthy of, and that is what your birthright is. So I hope that's helped, and just know you've got this. Seek support in many different ways, whether it's through health professionals to guide you through that, and whatever really sort of comes up and resonates for you. So yes, I shall leave that here for now. And if you've enjoyed listening to this podcast. Please feel free to subscribe so you get the ones whenever I record them, they pop up for you. But also feel free to come and join the Infinity Health Hub, which is going to be a health empowerment platform, science to soul. So feel free to come onto the website there and the Facebook group, the Infinity Health Hub. So lots of love, people, and just know that this whole process is a rebirthing for you to find you, and it's your inner magic, your inner power. Lots of love. Take care. Namaste.